To South Korea next, where a massive effort is now underway to relocate tens of thousands of young scouts and get them out of the path of an incoming tropical storm. Hundreds of Canadian scouts are among the 36,000 evacuees. Earlier today, buses began transporting them from the World Scout Jamboree campsite on the South Korean coast to inland areas. Here are some of those buses arriving in Seoul. Although many of the scouts are now out of immediate danger, questions remain about where they will stay. Alexander Silberman is tracking this story for us this morning. He joins me now from Moncton. Alexander, what's the latest on this relocation effort?
Well, Deanna, what was at first a gradual departure of some scouts has turned into a full-on evacuation, still underway right now. The World Scouting Jamboree in South Korea drew 36,000 scouts and volunteers from more than 150 countries, and that event includes more than 230 Canadian scouts. All of those people are now currently headed by bus to Seoul, the capital city, as part of this evacuation. But this is just the latest weather-related challenge since the event started last Tuesday. During the first week, the country saw dangerously hot temperatures, with hundreds of scouts needing to be treated for heat-related ailments. Some contingents even left the Jamboree, but the Canadian scouts stuck it out up until this evacuation for this oncoming tropical storm. And while many scouts say despite all of this, they're having a blast, Canadian parents back home say it's been difficult to watch things unfold from so far away.
I know the scouters have his best interest in the best interest of all youths at heart, so I know in my heart they're safe. But as a dad, it's very tough being 6,500 miles from my kid and not being able to do anything, especially in light of all the news that's been happening. But he's been amazing at reassuring me through all this as well and making sure that I feel comfortable with him being there.
With a fast-moving tropical storm heading to South Korea today, organizers are working to relocate tens of thousands of scouts to the capital city. The storm is expected to be felt as early as Wednesday and make landfall on Thursday, so there's a sense of urgency to move everyone away from the coast.
Alex, tell me, what's next for these scouts now that many have reached cities like Seoul?
Well, scouts and volunteers are still waiting for detailed plans from government officials. We know South Korea is scrambling to secure spaces in Seoul to house all of the participants at this event, and there's plans for them to stay in venues throughout the metropolitan area, including government training centers, education facilities, and hotels. Now, despite the evacuation, Scouts Canada says the Canadian Scouts are in good spirits and plan to continue to enjoy the rest of the events as part of the Jamboree. Participants say being able to adapt, though, at times like these is really what being a scout is all about.
I don't have control about the weather. I must make the most of it, and that's what scouting teaches us. It teaches us to be resilient, to take things in our stride and handle whatever the situation is. We'll make a plan around it, and that's why I'm part of the Scout movement, because it teaches us these values and morals.
Now, the event is expected to continue until Sunday with some modified activities in Seoul. And while it's not quite the camping trip they expected, parents say it will still be a special experience for their children abroad and a great lesson in resilience. Deanna?
Absolutely. Probably not the trip they expected at all, but there's definitely some lessons in there. Thank you so much, Alex. That's Alexander Silberman in Moncton.